With a second-half scoring barrage led by the 8-for-11 passing of Brad Fuller, Washington put the game away with a 29-yard touchdown pass to Scott Foster and a 43-yard completion to Doug Wilson. The Panthers' brilliant defense, including a goal line stand, prevented Canton from taking the lead in spite of 3 costly turnovers in the first half.
Down and goal in the 5-yard line. Goal from the 2-yard line.
Only a fourth-quarter 80-yard kickoff return touchdown by conference 100-meter sprint champion Steve Downs prevented the game from being a shutout.
Conversion attempt.
Keith Sherman, Ed Foster, and Denny Klein combined for 280 of the Panthers' 310 rushing yards in this 34-6 rout. The following week, Washington traveled to East Peoria to play the Red Raiders, who were fresh off an upset victory over Galesburg, 27-20.
10 from the Washington 35-yard line.
The Panthers dominated every aspect of the game in a 48-0 rout, piling up another 400-yard offensive game while limiting East Peoria to just 55 yards of total offense. East Peoria never penetrated midfield against the Panther defense. Brian Bachler, Ed Foster, and Chris Holford each intercepted East Peoria passes. Denny Klein rushed for 126 yards and 2 touchdowns in just 14 carries. Quarterback Brad Fuller was letter perfect, hitting on all 7 passes attempted for 120 yards and 2 touchdowns. Doug Wilson caught touchdown passes of 23 and 46 yards in the first half, as Washington raced to a 28-0 halftime lead. The Panthers made up an earlier unsuccessful 2-point attempt with the gadget play of the week, a pass from tailback Keith Sherman to quarterback Brad Fuller, who had completely fooled the East Peoria defense by going in motion from his normal quarterback position. Junior running backs Eric Klein and Dave Mitchell scored 3 second-half touchdowns to complete the scoring. The younger Klein was the game's second leading rusher with 48 yards on just 9 carries.
One of the strengths of the Washington football program is a coaching staff of 7 men who are knowledgeable, dedicated, and persevering. Freshman coaches Paul Cram and Mark O'Neill combine experience, know-how, and youthful enthusiasm to teach and develop players new to the sport. In addition to this, the Panthers are always amongst the most well-drilled, most fundamental, and most successful anywhere. Cram and O'Neill double as sideline assistants on game night, responsible for special teams and situational substitutions. While the Frosh are being introduced to and taught the game at the most basic level, the sophomores are being refined in the more specialized areas of the game very capably by coaches Phil Moss and Tom Tennyson. 3 of the past 5 sophomore teams have been conference champions, and 2 of those teams have been undefeated. Moss and Tennyson have coached and scouted together in the past 3 years, and their analysis and preparation have been very instrumental in the formulation of every game plan.
There he goes again. Touchdown, Washington. Get it!
Varsity assistants Bob Witherell and Rocky Cooper have had a great deal to do with the program's success. Veteran defensive coordinator Bob Witherell has directed a defensive system that has finished first or second in the conference in fewest points and yardage allowed 5 of the past 6 years. Doubling as receiver coach, Witherell has helped to develop one of the more effective passing attacks in Illinois high school football.
Play.
Number 22, Mike Strasser.
The addition of Rocky Cooper to the staff in 1982 has had a great impact on the program. His knowledge of offensive and defensive line play is outstanding. These segments have been the most consistent areas of performance. Cooper has also capably coordinated the special teams as well as directing the Panthers from the press box on game nights. Washington football teams have been known for developing big, outstanding linemen and tough, hard-hitting linebackers. Rocky Cooper has coached 7 first-team all-conference linemen the past 3 years.
Second at about 7 for the Streaks. Play action.
Steve Knopfsinger and Matt Hodges in 1983.
6 by Ron Mason that finally brought the orange and black alive here on the near sideline. First back is Birdsall. He picks up maybe a yard or 2 before he's dropped. Steve positions. We see the Streaks continuing to march down the field. Carnell Washington on the draw. This time Knopflinger smells it out nicely and gets a lot of pursuit from his deep. Bolschlager, we're back to the first unit at this point, at least in most of the positions. Hand off to the second back, and that's Bolschlager. He's caught in the backfield. Matt Hodges squad 34-14, so they were crowned the 2A champions.
It's 3rd and inches for Woodstock.
3rd and inches for the Blue Streaks. And to Hoffman, and I don't think Hoffman got it. Been good for the Woodstock. Hand off to Hoffman, and again off the right side. He may not have gotten it. Probably have to wait for a measurement.
Cooper also coached all-conference performances out of Matt White and Spencer Roosevelt in 1984. And in 1985, John Roosevelt, Scott Milburn, and Scott Underwood. Cooper is greatly responsible for the development of Chicago Tribune All-Stater Scott Underwood, Washington's first All-State lineman since current University of Illinois starter Mark Dennis did it in 1982. If Penn State is known as Linebacker U, then Washington has to be Linebacker High. In the 1980s, Bob Witherell has coached 6 different first-team all-conference linebackers in Greg Bays, Rick Mason, Steve Krull, Kenny Hopp, Spencer Roosevelt, and Todd King. As well as the heir to the tradition, junior Keith Tubal, who led the team in tackles in 1985.
Off the left side, he breaks it out to the flat. He may go all the
Under
way.
John Venturi, Washington High School has been the area's most successful program in his 7 years as head coach.
3-yard touchdown.
Under Venturi's direction, the Panthers have won more regular season games, more conference championships, and more playoff games than any other school in the area. Before Venturi, Washington never made the playoffs. With him, they have made it 4 of the last 5 years, including 3 conference championships, a state 4A runner-up, and a 4A state championship, with an incredible winning percentage of over 80% in that same time period.
Right at the midfield stripe, and he's over and left in the football game. Gasperi has Mason, and Mason's going to take it in from 10 yards.
Venturi's early Panther teams won with deception, finesse, and surprise. His championship teams have retained those elements, along with execution, strength, and predictability. The 1985 Washington Metamora game is simply referred to as the game. Before the largest crowd in Babcock Field history, an estimated crowd in excess of 6,000 people saw one of the most exciting games in Panther football history. Despite an incredible 92-yard touchdown run by Keith Sherman, the Panthers trailed the Redbirds 21-7 at the half. Panthers quickly rallied to tie the score on a long drive, capped by Brad Fuller. And Scott Foster's 25-yard touchdown interception of a Dan Hargis pass. Sherman, who would finish the day with 170 yards and 3 touchdowns in 12 carries, tied the game for the last time at 28, late in the fourth quarter. Despite giving up the most points it has allowed in the past 23 games, the Panthers' defense stopped the Redbirds on their 2 most important possessions, their last 2.
Downfield.
In overtime, despite a controversial face mask penalty, the defense stopped Metamora just inches shy of the end zone. From the 9-yard line on the second offensive play of the Panthers' tie-breaking possession, Keith Sherman scored the game winner to cap an unbelievable rally to end the game 34-28. In Game 6, Chicago Collins brought the state's leading rusher in Anthony Andrews for an interesting matchup between one of Chicago's perennial football powers and Central Illinois' premier program. With injuries sidelining senior running backs Keith Sherman and Denny Klein, junior running backs Ed Foster and Eric Klein carried the load in a surprising 43-6 romp.